they'd also accused the former ally of President Erdogan of plotting the failed coup earlier this year. Selim Sazik is a fellow in the foreign policy program at the Century Foundation. He joins me now from Boston, and we appreciate it. So the accusation that it could be Fethullah Gulen, do you agree with that?
I had a conversation with a senior Turkish official minutes ago, Rochelle, and that they're insisting that this has to do with Gülen. At first sight, it looks counterintuitive. Looking at the video of the act, we see what looks like a typical jihadist with the Tawhid sign. He's reciting a line from an Al-Qaeda march. But the Turkish government is actually saying that the assailant pretended to be an ISIS jihadist and had ties to the Gülenist movement. Some of the evidence that I've heard, some of which also got reported in international news outlets, sounds convincing, but at this point it's really difficult to know.
And if that's the case, what would the motivation be?
The Gülen organization had been involved in Turkey's power circles for the last 2, maybe 3 decades. The July attempt seems to have been their ultimate last-ditch effort since President Erdogan started pushing them out of the power structure. If it is really the case that the Gülenists are now in a position of weakness, that they're feeling cornered, it would not be difficult to imagine them engaging in these sort of destabilizing actions, trying to foment trouble in Turkey and also drive Turkey apart from its allies, be it in the West or in Russia.
Okay, and just to be clear, the coup, the Gulen movement has denied any association with that, just to be clear. But let's talk about what might the ramifications be in Turkey going forward now that something like this has happened.
This is going to be a game changer no matter what. There are at least 4 reasons why this is going to be a game changer. Firstly, it's the Russian ambassador that was gone down, but it's going to be American diplomacy, the Western orientation, that's going to take a serious hit. Ankara will go out on a limb to placate Russia. This is highly embarrassing, of course, regardless of how many defensive measures have been taken. This is a major act, and Turkey is going to do whatever it can to placate Russia. That means, A, Turkey's Syria game is going to change dramatically. The events in Aleppo had already brought an end to any prospect of a solution without Assad. It seems Turkey is probably going to have to accept that outcome at this point. A third issue is if Russia signs on to the theory, to Ankara's official explanation, that this is the Gülenists who've conspired for this attack, it would be very difficult for Washington to insist on not extraditing Mr. Gülen. So that's going to be another important dimension. And of course, the state of emergency, which was implemented after the failed coup attempt in July, was due to elapse in the next couple of months. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. And that's some tough times for Turkey's opposition politicians.
Let's talk about the state of emergency. What are the questions that are going to be raised about security in Turkey? It's been a very tough year in Turkey already for this past year before this even happened.
Turkey is fighting a battle on 3 fronts. On one front, you have the Kurdish separatist terrorist group, PKK. PKK was responsible for last weekend's attack against matchgoers at Vodafone Arena in Istanbul. There is ISIS, of course. ISIS has also been involved in a number of high-profile attacks, including the airport attack in Turkey over the summer. Then now there seems to be the Gülenists, if you're believing Ankara's account. And that means a 3-way war. It's difficult to fight that kind of a war. So the state of emergency is going to be the norm for a while, it seems. It would be very difficult for Ankara to restore order in this kind of an atmosphere without some draconian measures. And I think that's going to be a major justification that could potentially result, as we're seeing, in the consolidation of President Erdogan's power and a weakening of opposition politics in Turkey.
Selim Sazik, thank you so much for your insight. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Rochelle.
Absolutely.